What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the D. Today, we have a very special guest with us, one of Chelsea's brightest young stars, Jess Carter. Jess, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. Really good. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. First off, congratulations on winning the Women's Super League again. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm buzzing. I think it's such a great, huge achievement. Obviously, we did it last year, but even though, in my opinion, we deserved it, it still wasn't done the right way, like how I think that we all would have wanted it to be. So to have won it this year properly, it feels even better.
And so, obviously, last year it was tough because of COVID. And how much does this mean to you now after the hard season you had last year with COVID?
I think that this is kind of maybe why I'm even more excited because everyone like in the team, staff, players have sacrificed so much this year. The same as everybody else in the world, but people haven't been able to see family, friends, etc. Not be able to leave their house, and yet still have to go to work and work so hard that it makes everything that we've kind of sacrificed over the past year worth it. And I think it's just kind of brought the girls even closer because we've had each other, so it just makes that winning this year feel that taste a little bit better.
And what was it like having to play with COVID? Having to deal with quarantining, social distancing. Did it affect your season at all?
I wouldn't say it affected the season because I think that we just all had to get on with it. We were all just like, right, it is what it is. But it wasn't enjoyable at all for large parts of it. Not being able to all sit in the same room together or have lunch together or breakfast together, something that helps to kind of bond you. And then it's kind of like, even though a lot of the world are in quarantine, that a lot of people are still able to go out for a walk, etc. Whereas we are in this latter part of the season, we've been travel to games, come back, isolate in our house, or go to a football, come home. Like we weren't allowed to go to the grocery store or for just a walk or whatever outside of training. So it has been a lot, but I think we've all just learned to suck it up and get on with it.
Exactly. And now that COVID is hopefully coming to an end and things are starting to loosen up a little bit, can you take us through your daily routine as a footballer? Let's assume that COVID doesn't exist. Maybe before COVID, what it was like.
So yeah, basically just kind of get up in the morning, go into football. I think around like 9ish, have breakfast there. Then we'd have a team meeting about 10. And then from there, you'd have our prehab or treatments and get ready to go out and train. And then we come back in and have lunch. And then if you've got no other meetings or no other treatments, then you're kind of done for the day after that. So most of us will probably leave and be home about 3 o'clock, and then it's kind of down to you. So I like to be outside. Let's go and walking, coffee, shopping, whatever it is. I like to be out and about. Or if it's been a tough week, just come home, jump on the sofa, and binge watch whatever.
What are you binge watching?
I'm actually not watching anything right now. No, I can't remember the last thing I watched. It's been a bit hectic. We've been traveling a lot at the moment, so everything's just kind of, there's not been any one program.
Got it.
So, kind of dating back to your early life, what made you fall in love with soccer? What made you know that you wanted to play soccer and make a career out of it?
We apologize, by the way. We use soccer as Americans.
Yes, it's cool. My dad's American, so
Oh,
it's so used to it. No, I think it's my older brothers played football, so I just kind of used to go to their games, and all the other little brothers and sisters were playing football on the side of the pitch whilst we were waiting. So, and it just kind of grew from there. Really, it wasn't really something I was like, right, I want to be a footballer. It just kind of came out of nowhere.
and you play as a fullback primarily in the midfield as well. How did you figure out what position was your best position?
I still don't know what my best position is, to be honest with you. I think still trying to figure it out. Obviously, when I was at Birmingham, when I went to the first team, one of the left back picked up an injury, which is kind of why I played. And then I played there for so many years. And in the past kind of 4 years, I'd say I've dipped in between my last year at Birmingham and this with Chelsea now. I think I played a little bit of midfield, a little bit of centre back and full back. I still can't tell you my preferred position. I just like being out on the pitch.
Yeah, it
Like,
makes sense.
it's not, one day maybe I'll get it sus, but for now I have no idea.
Did you have any mentors when you were growing up that helped you, through your soccer career and help you improve your game?
I think not when I was younger. There wasn't really anybody that I specifically looked up to. You know, when I went to Birmingham, there were a lot of people that helped along the way through my teammates. So that's Joe Potter and Jade Moore, management through Marcus Bignot, Laura Bassett. Like, there's too many people to kind of keep going. But I wouldn't say I necessarily had a mentor, but I think that I've always had good people in my teams that have kind of looked out for me and helped me through.
And what about a professional football mentor? Maybe someone you looked up to, an idol that you watched on TV as a kid or just liked watching the game of?
I used to love just watching Paul Scholes. If I'm allowed to say that, I'm a Man United fan. So, yeah, so
That hurts.
I used to like watching him, but not really anyone particular. I just watch kind of all football all the time, whenever. So I wouldn't say I've got a specific professional idol.
Manchester United. I mean, as long as you're winning games for Chelsea, then I don't mind.
Yeah, of course but I honestly, it's not just saying it that I don't know what it is, but you join a club like Chelsea and all of a sudden I'm like watching every Chelsea game. I'm cheering them on like I've supported them my whole life. So, it does become like that. You know, I am obviously a huge fan of Chelsea now since being here, but yeah, Man United are my number one.
That's okay. So do you obviously you said going to the Chelsea and then sort of becoming a fan or a supporter, I guess you could say. Do you watch all the games regularly? Do you follow the men's team at all?
Yeah, I watch all of the games. I kind of watch any football that's on the telly. But obviously, when the men are playing, of course, I'm supporting them. I think that they play some great football as well. It's enjoyable to watch, and as part of the club, I like to believe that we are one club. So of course, we want them to do well.
So what was that transition like when you moved to Chelsea? It was a big move for you. Were there any challenges, or did you think it was kind of a smooth change?
It was, I'd say that there were challenges, but more in the sense of just the difficulty was just went through the roof. Like the players that we have at Chelsea are just on another level. So me coming from Birmingham, which was amazing for me at the time, but then going to Chelsea was going up another level, and the demands from you just went up. I kind of got complacent in my last year at Birmingham, so I was a little bit casual, I'd say. And then I went to Chelsea, and it was just, well, like you realize you had to step up quick, otherwise you're going to fall behind, really.
So the recognition came pretty quickly for you. You won the PFA Young Player of the Year award and then signed for Chelsea not too long after. What drove you to make the decision to take a step forward and sign for Chelsea?
I think that it was, obviously Emma Hayes is a very persuasive person, and what she believed she could get out of me, and the success that Chelsea have had, the players that they're there, but also at that point, how old I was the kind of person that I needed the environment at the time to help push me forward. And by that, I mean, like, if the level of the players around me are playing so good, etc., means that I've got to step up as well. And at that time at Birmingham, I wouldn't say the environment was pushing me. So I relied on what was around me a lot more than I maybe should have. So that was kind of my ultimate thing. I felt like if I'd have stayed at Birmingham, I don't think I'd have pushed on at that point.
So talking a little bit about your Birmingham career, what was it like? Your debut for them was versus Arsenal in the Champions League semi or quarterfinal, and you were just 16 years old. What was that like?
Um, It was just, I don't know. I wasn't really overly. I was pretty chill. Like as at 16, I was just kind of chill. Yeah, I didn't really get too excited. It wasn't really too like. It wasn't really an oh my god moment. It was just another football game to me. Like I really wasn't so bothered about it then. I probably would say that I didn't really take advantage of the opportunity that it was in terms of realize how big of an achievement it was at the time. Because yeah, it was just another day for me, really.
And playing at such a young age, did you see any challenges when you were facing veterans of the league and amazing players, and you were just an up and coming star at such a young age?
To be honest, I didn't really watch much women's football at that point or when I was younger because I didn't know anything about it. There wasn't enough media about it. There wasn't enough publicity, etc., to really know who many players were. So for me, I only knew two players when I first went to Birmingham. That was Kaz Carney and Rachel Yankee, and they were the only two female footballers I'd ever heard of. So I didn't really have that wow factor or that fear factor because I didn't know who were the elite of the elite at that time. And I think that maybe helped to my favor at that point to not know who was going to be so good.
Well, it's amazing to hear that at 16 years old in the Champions League quarterfinal, it was just another football game for you, just another day.
Yeah, it just always was like I just love playing football. It didn't matter whether it was at the park, in the for Birmingham, whoever it was for. It was just football, and I think it was just fun. And I didn't know anything else besides having fun at that point at 16. I didn't feel the pressure or anything. I just thought it's you go out and you have fun and you do what you do what you do best, and that's just work hard and yeah, hopefully it's enough.
And were you shocked at all when you saw your name on the team sheet or when you were called to make an appearance?
Yeah, I was. Well, my manager the week before had said, like, we played against the boys team at the time in preparation, and he said, "Oh, if you play well against him, you'll play in. You might start next week or whatever." And I just kind of laughed it off and was like, "Yeah, whatever." And then literally, like, I think maybe a couple of days before, my manager called my dad and asked my dad if I was allowed to have the day off school. So that because obviously the game was midweek in the evening, and he was like, so she can prepare for the game. And then that's when I found out. So then it was pretty. I was excited though, just to be. I couldn't believe I was on the team sheet, let alone it wasn't really about the game. We could have played anyone. I would have been excited, but I think yeah, that was huge at that point.
So talking about the game, what was it actually like playing your first game? Like what was going through your head? What were your feelings and how did you feel after it?
I think that for me, I don't really think about much during the game. Yeah, I don't know. I just was just doing my best, working hard and running around and having fun. And when you're in the game, you don't really think about anything else. You're just playing football, and it wasn't till afterwards that, like, obviously Arsenal are also a huge team in England, so and especially at that point. So then everyone was so excited afterwards. But it's still, I don't really think it's still sunk in until much later on in my career to be like, oh, damn, you made your debut in the Champions League. You played semi-final, with some amazing players and against amazing players. So at that point, nothing was really sinking in. It was just, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't really explain it, I don't think.
And then going back to school for the first time after that, did your friends know that you were all playing against Arsenal in the Champions League semi or quarterfinal?
Yeah, they did, and obviously I played all the football at school, so they all knew that I could play football, etc. I probably more so my teachers thought it was pretty awesome because of I don't know, women's football just wasn't that big then, so it wasn't really maybe relevant to some other people, but definitely to teachers because I think they realized how huge of a thing it was. So yeah, everyone was just all my friends, all my teammates, the players I used to play football with, etc. Everyone was just excited and was just really supportive. Yeah.
And did you face any challenges having to deal with, managing your football career and also having to do school and deal with school?
I would say, yeah. There were definitely challenges. I think that it was really hard to um, it was hard to juggle it. When I look back now, I know that I could have done better at school because I kind of was just like, yeah, we'll just see what happens, sort of thing. And you've got football, etc. But then when I got to college, Birmingham had a great connection with one of the colleges, so they worked together to make sure that I could fit my studies around football. So they were really amazing in that sense. Otherwise, I don't know how well I would have done college and played.
So you said women's football wasn't as big when you were in school, and it's growing obviously now throughout the world. What can us fans do to help grow the game of women's football?
I think it's just a continued support, like the fans already are so amazing and it's improved so much in, the short time, 6, 7 years, I think it is, it's grown so much. So I think that the fans' only job is to come to football, watch football, enjoy it, have a great time and cheer us on. And that's all that we ever want from the fans. It's more so what can we do for you guys? We want to make sure that you guys enjoy the game and things like that. So I don't think it's down to fans to boost our profile. It's down to fans to just have fun and enjoy it.
So once you made the big move to Chelsea, what was it like breaking into the team? Was it hard to mix with your new team, or were they very welcoming and nice?
The girls were lovely. Everyone was so nice. That wasn't a hard part. The hard part was playing with them because of they were so good. But off the football pitch, everyone was just amazing. So it was so easy to fit right into Chelsea. I wasn't sure what to expect because there was some huge stars when I kind of came, and little old me from Birmingham wasn't really anybody. So I was expecting it to be really, I don't know, a lot of egos and maybe not as friendly, but it was completely opposite. Everyone's so lovely.
And did you, or were you excited, or was there a certain player that you were most excited to play with before arriving at Chelsea?
Not necessarily like a certain player. I think genuinely the whole Chelsea team, like, I couldn't give you just a handful of players that were amazing. Like the list is on and on, whether that's going forward, dribbling, passing, whatever it is, there's just players in almost every position that are incredible. So I think that, and then you learn a bit from every player each day. So I think it's hard to pick out just one or two.
And you mentioned a little bit earlier about the influence of Emma Hayes. She's obviously one of the best in the business, one of the most successful managers in the world right now. What's it been like playing under her? Is it as good as you expected?
Tough. It is very tough. Obviously she's a great manager. She wouldn't have won the things that she's won if she wasn't, but she has such high expectations and demands a lot from you. And if you don't get it, like she'll be on your back. So it is very tough, but at the same time, if she wasn't as tough as she is, would we be winning the things that we are? So in those moments, of course, you kind of like hoping that she gets off your back and leaves you alone and feels like she's picking on you. But then at the same time, 6 months later, when you've won 3 trophies and you're playing regularly in the last few games, you kind of can't really complain in the end.
I was gonna say it's working out pretty well.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously, Chelsea had an amazing season this year. Do you have a favorite memory from the year?
I think, I don't know. I think that for me personally, it's probably either the second leg against Bayern Munich to qualify for Champions League. Just because it was just such a huge achievement to forget the actual final, but actually getting to the final. Like, we'd never done that before. And I'd previously got into the semi-stages with Birmingham and couldn't get past that point. And I know a lot of the other girls have played semi-finals but not got past that point. And Bayern Munich, we started off where we were losing coming into the second leg. Then I think we were drawing. They got another away goal, and it was just, but everyone just kind of dug in, and it was just one of those games where you just got to work so hard and fight to literally to the very end, and that's what we did as a team and got the win. So yeah, that feeling then was well, yeah, it was an amazing feeling.
I do want to ask about that game. Obviously, going down on the first leg, what was the morale like in the locker room before the
Everyone was
second leg?
actually okay. Yeah, no, everyone was all right. I think because we got the away goal, people were okay, and we were like, there's still another leg to go, and it wasn't over, and we got an away goal, which in Champions League is so huge. So actually, everybody was okay. No one was too disheartened or sad or anything like that. We were just like, this. We knew that we didn't play very well that game, so we knew that we had another level to go to, and we had a second opportunity to get to that level. So I don't think we weren't really too worried, and we kind of had extra motivation because we felt like Bayern Munich were celebrating as if they were already through. So that added a bit of motivation, certainly for me anyway.
Of course.
So moving on to the final, it's an amazing game. Being able to make it to the Champions League final. What was it like playing in that game, especially since both the Chelsea men and women team were both in the Champions League final? What was it like playing?
Well, I think the build up to it was just excitement. Everyone seemed ready. Everyone was, excited for it. Everyone seemed confident for it. And then we played 10 minutes and kind of went downhill from there. So, it was just a tough game. We had a bit of a reality check in terms of we're not ready yet. We're not at that level yet that we needed to be. And also the reality of the fact that you can't afford to go so many goals down and expect to bring it back, even though in the second half, in my opinion, we were the better team. It's kind of gone then by then. So I think we learned a lot from it, and it was great to experience it, but it kind of just makes you more hungry now to go and do better, so that next time we're not losing 4-0 in the final. We're winning 4-0 in the final.
Well, next year, bring home the Champions League. It's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
that's the aim. That's the aim.
So, your first game against Birmingham City after you left, was that a special one for you in your heart?
Um, it's a little bit of both. It was because of, I wouldn't be the person, the player I am if it wasn't for Birmingham. They were amazing. It's an amazing club, but at the same time, a lot of the people that were there when I was there had left. So even though there was still a few people there, the ones for me that were closest to me, whether that be the managers or the players, they were no longer there. So it was kind of a bit of both in terms of, um, it was special to go back there and play. But at the same time, I knew in my heart that I had moving on was the right decision. So it wasn't really too emotional, but it will always be a special place for sure.
And obviously, as a fullback, you guys need to deal with the speedy wingers coming up and down the pitch all the time. Can you think of a player that you just couldn't deal with? You don't want to play ever again? Just the hardest player that you played against?
Crystal Dunn. When I was for Birmingham and she was at Chelsea, I have never met a player like her in my entire life. That's so incredible. Left foot, right foot, pace, power, stretch, like everything you should possibly wish for in a player is Crystal Dunn. I think she's the hardest player I've played against so far.
And she's an American. She's one of my favorite players. So that's
Yeah.
good to hear.
No, yeah, she is unbelievable. And I'm gutted that I think I joined the year that she left Chelsea. So I'm gutted about that, because that would have been, I think, maybe exciting to play with her. But yeah, she's on in a league of her own, in my opinion.
So you say it would be exciting to play with Crystal Dunn. Is there another player out there that you would just love to play with before the end of your career, which is obviously in a long time?
I've really liked Kim Little actually about Arsenal. I think that she picks up some great positions, her pass on the ball. I like watching her play. And I think that she's a very good player. And it would have been Farrah Williams. I played with her a couple of times on England camp, just in training and things like that. And she is another player who, in my opinion, is unreal. So there are two players that I think that I would have liked to have played with at some point.
So you just mentioned a little bit about playing with England. What is it actually like being able to represent your country? Playing for England, you get called up to the senior team. What's that like? What's the feeling?
I think that's always something so special that I don't think anybody ever really believes it's going to happen, and then it kind of just does. And it's just, I don't really know how to feel about it, because if I'm being honest, I think that when I was there, I don't think I was mature enough, and I was still young, and I was just kind of like, yeah, it is, it is what it is, sort of thing. Whereas I don't think, it's not that I didn't work hard enough, but maybe I didn't recognize how huge of a moment that was. Whereas now I'm like, damn, get me back in the England team. So, I think at that time I didn't value the experience enough, the opportunity enough. Whereas I'm definitely a few years on now, and I'm definitely wishing I could have maybe dealt with that a little bit better, but just kind of makes me more excited now to get back in the setup.
And how did you find out you made the England squad for the first time?
I don't even remember. I think it was an email, because I'd played in a few. I'd gone to a few training camps, but not an official one with a actual game. So we normally just get an email to say that you're selected, and that was kind of it. So I think it was okay, because I'd been in a few training camps. So it's not necessarily that I was preparing to be called up, but I didn't get that massive shock factor, which as I maybe would have if I hadn't been part of the training camps.
And what is your main goal with the England squad, whether it's a World Cup or whatever it is?
I'm not really the kind of person who sets my goals too far ahead. For me, I'm just like, I just want to get into the England team consistently. It would be the nearest goal for me next is Euro 22. I want to be in a position where I'm playing for Chelsea regularly, so that I can play, picked for the England squad. I'd love to go to that, but for me, I've just got to focus on killing it for club, and then hopefully it's enough to get me into England.
So talking a little bit about goals, do you have any goals that you want to achieve in the next season? Do you have anything that you want to do?
Champions League, 100%. Of course I want to win. I want to win as many trophies as we can. That's why we play football, isn't it? So, that's huge. But I think that I need to, I want to start the season where I finished it, with playing continuously, and that's how I want to be going into next season, with being one of the first names on the team sheets. That's my aim, for club. And then as a team, us winning as many trophies, getting back to that Champions League, and bringing it home.
And obviously, the captain, Eriksson, is she someone who influences the locker room the most, or does everybody do it the same amount?
I think that Magda's an amazing captain. I think as a person, she is an incredible person and a great leader. She leads by example, whether that's be professionalism or just the way to act or just the way to treat people. And she's someone that you can go to. But there are definitely a lot of huge characters in the dressing room, that influence it, whether it be for the banter or for serious chats, or just people who are humble and work hard. There's a lot of influences, I think, at Chelsea.
And winning the league title, second year in a row, obviously, how special is it to win after the injury of Mjelde?
Yeah, I think that was a lot of motivation for everybody, because I think that moment in that game broke all of our hearts. It was really sad. And Maren is another person who is loved in the team so much. So it was a really sad moment for us all. And I think that she is another big, big leader, who is outstanding day in and day out. So it was not just go and win the league. It was go and win the league for Maren as well. Was someone who, if she had the chance, she'd be doing her absolute best on the pitch every day. So yeah, it was special.
And how special is it playing and winning trophies with your partner, Anne Katrin Berger?
Yeah, that's not so bad either. She's an incredible goalkeeper. In my opinion, the best in the world. But of course, it's non-biased, going non-biased. But no, yeah, she's amazing. She's an amazing goalkeeper. So it is nice to be able to share that with each other. And obviously, we only had a short spell when we were separated at Birmingham and Chelsea. So it wasn't as fun playing against her, that's for sure. But yes, no, I'd definitely rather be on a team than against her.
Was there a part of you that just wanted to score on her just so you could get bragging rights?
Yeah, of course. But deep down, I think I know that she'd have saved any shot that I took.
That's fair. I have one final question for all of us Chelsea fans. I shouldn't say Eco's not a Chelsea fan, but I'm a Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
What can we expect as supporters from the Blues next season?
I think that you can expect from us just another level. We know that we've got to pick our standards up if we want to go and win that Champions League. So I think that you'll see more hard work, more determination, more quality on the ball. We learned that against Barcelona, that we can't afford to be sloppy on the ball, because the teams pick up on it. So I think that all we can say is that we will give our best to bring those trophies home. And we know what we did this year was good enough to get us to the final. But I think after being in the final, we now know what we've got to do to do better than just get to the final and actually bring it home. So hopefully next year, when we're having the same conversation, it'll be with the Champions League trophy.
Let's hope. Bring home the quadruple next year. We know it can happen. We
exactly.
got. Well, Jess, it's been a pleasure to watch you on the field this season, and we're extremely excited for next season, as we know you're absolutely going to kill it. So good luck, and thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of Inside the D. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.